Hey Center Yogis, I'm back with another flow. This one's very vigorous. We'll be doing lots of spinal rolling, taking plow vinyasas. If this is newer to you and you may be sensitive rolling forward and back on your mat, on your back, I recommend taking a towel, a bath towel, and placing it along the surface of your mat to give you a little bit more cushion. If you're lucky enough to have 2 yoga mats at home, you could stack those. Another option would be to place your yoga mat onto a carpet rather than a wooden floor, or a tile would be especially too firm for this sort of flow. So we'll go ahead and get started. We'll begin seated on your mat, a comfortable seat. You could place a rolled towel, especially if you did decide to go grab one. Place it under the seat to tip the sit bones a little bit higher. Start to get centered here. Take a few breaths in through the nose. Breathing out through your mouth. 2 more like this. Inhale. Let it go. And another one. Good. Opening eyes if they were closed. We'll take 3 rounds of an invigorating pranayama, Kapalabhati pranayama, skull shining breath. This is a series of pulses, active pulses, using the abdominals out the nose, and passive rebounding inhales. So we'll take it in 3 rounds, each round progressively a little bit quicker and a little bit longer. So to begin, bring your fingers together at your low ribs. Feel the place where the ribs come together, the upper rectus abdominis. Go ahead and breathe out to engage this area so you can feel it contract. So this is where the work will happen. Do your best to keep your shoulders relaxed and stable, and a nice open chest. To prepare, take a big breath in. Breathe out all the way, feeling those muscles engage. A full breath in, expand, and we'll pulse. Nine, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Close your eyes. Breathe normally. Releasing the backs of your hands to the thighs. Start to notice any sensation along the crown, the back of the skull, behind the eyes. A natural breath in and out through your nose. Round 2, take a big breath in, clear it out, exhaling all the way. Find an empty bottom of the exhale. Another full inflation. And round 2, a little faster. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Release. Hands come to the thighs and observe. Come in now for a final round of Kapalabhati pranayama, longer and faster. Breathe in to prepare. Breathe out all the way, engaging navel to spine. A full breath in and we pulse. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, release. To counterpose this one, releasing yourself from your blanket, swing your legs forward if you are facing the side of the mat. Take your hands behind you, we'll come down for a fish pose. Coming down onto the forearms, release the crown of your head back, start to walk your hands forward so you can come down onto the crown of your head. Once you're here, draw your hands and forearms towards you to lift up more onto the crown of the head. Settle your awareness there. And pressing through the elbows, lift your head, tuck your chin. Let's come in for a nice long full body stretch. Reach through toes and fingers, inhale, get length, arching the back up off of your mat. And then exhale, side bend, lift your feet and arms over to the right. Shift your hips to the left. Couple of full breaths here. Come back through center. Breathe in, exhale to the left. And you're back through center. Tuck one knee, then the other, rolling side to side to massage the low back. Draw some big circles with your knees. And then we'll take the knees over the hips, parallel your shins, flex your feet, spreading the toes. Draw the right knee over the left, crossing the legs mid-thigh. Maybe you wrap the ankles as well for Garuda legs. Right arm comes under left, crossing tricep over bicep, bend at the elbows and hook. We'll take an inhale to spread distance between elbows and knees. And then exhale, round up, pressing down into that place where you took your Kapalabhati pranayama. Inhale, extend, and exhale. Root the lumbar into your mat. Elbows might tap knees. Let's take 8 more. Inhaling and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale for 4, 3, 2, last 1, and releasing your arms, unravel legs, draw your right knee in, left leg goes long, a supine twist. Take that knee over to the side, right arm extends. Coming back through center. Knees come back to the chest once more. Rock side to side. Coming back into a supine table position. This time left thigh will cross over right, wrapping ankles if that's in your practice. Left arm under, really try to get those arms across. Great deltoid stretch here if you take a moment in this position. It feels really nice. And when you're ready, Garudasana. Inhale, expand. Exhale, contract for 10 of these. 9. 8, using Ujjayi breath. Strong breath out the nose for 7. 6. Really turning on the abdominals. 4. 3. 2. Last one. Pause here and unravel the arms, legs come unraveled as well. Right calf roots into the mat, extending that leg. Bend your left knee, draw it in nice and close. And then a supine twist. Right hand comes across left thigh, roll it over. Expand the left arm to the left. And then back to center. So here's where we'll begin our spinal rolling. Take your hands under your thighs and start to kick your heels forward and back. Do your best to round your spine. You're going to tuck your chin. And exhale to draw the body up. Inhale, release on back. Exhale, come forward. Maybe find a little balance in boat at the top. Exhale. So if you feel yourself getting kind of a thump here, that means you need to, maybe up seated, you need to roll back on your tail, draw your chin down, so curving the spine, and then allow that curving motion to energize and invigorate the vertebra of the spine. A couple more. And then when you have enough momentum, we're going to stand up into fierce pose, plant the feet, and circle your arms up, Utkatasana. Building heat in the body, start to become aware of that chakra center, Manipura, right the place between the floating ribs and just back, behind the rectus abdominis. So especially on your exhale, start to find that center of power in the body, building some heat. Let's take it quite low today, reaching forward. Send your weight back into your heels and outer sides of the feet. Dropping the tail today to engage the core. So a straight spine here, no back bend in this variation. Turn your thumbs out, pinkies in, externally rotating at the arms. You can extend the shoulders, just keep the back of the neck long, gazing down to toes. Find those exhales, really strong Ujjayi sounding exhales. Last inhale here. Exhale, rise up, inhale, reach, and exhale, fold. And dropping the head, half lift, inhale. A long spine, exhale, plant your hands, let's step the left foot and then the right foot back into plank pose. A couple of breaths here, spreading weight across your hands now. Really root down through the base of the thumb and the first finger. Stacking your heels over your toes. Engage your legs, dropping your tailbone. Think nice and long through the back body. Couple more breaths. Spin the eyes of the elbows forward and really press into the mat to spread and protract the back of the scapula. Final breath in here. Shift forward. This first one you can drop the knees, a couple of chaturanga push-ups. This is a great chance to work those chaturanga arms, keeping elbows hugging in. A few more. You could be doing this with the knees lifted. Last one, untuck your toes, drop your hips. We'll take a high cobra. Or a low cobra. And then releasing, tuck toes, press up through plank. Inhaling and then exhale, sit your hips back, downward facing dog, pedaling out the knees. Become aware of that Manipura chakra center in the body here in your downward facing dog, starting to tuck the tail a little more. I know we often lift the sit bones, lengthening the hamstrings. Today let's take a slight tucking in of the core muscles.
And to do this, you might lift your drishti, your focal point of your eyes, up to your waistband. Or even to your belly button. You can see it. Feeling that engagement. And as you do, press away even more with your hands, feeling the opposing nature of those two actions. I'll give you a couple more breaths to explore this subtle breath connection, working with the deep energy centers in your body. All right. Without lifting your right leg high, send that right knee forward using your core to step your foot forward. And if the foot won't come forward and you're still working towards that core strength required, you can always use the hand to help the foot forward. Coming up onto templed fingers, settle your back heel down. Really firm the edge of that back foot into the mat and then start to rise up. Headed into Virabhadrasana Ekha, Warrior One. Still working to drop the tail here. This is a challenge for me personally, probably for all of us. So that you can further deepen into that extension in the left hip, circling that left hip forward and down. Take as long of a stride as you want to. The deeper you go, the more you might work strength in the right quadricep muscles. Continuing to extend. A couple more breaths in a strong Warrior One. Last breath here, inhale. Exhale all the way down to Chaturanga. So if you can pace out your breath. Inhale, an upward facing dog this time. And then exhale, downward dog. Immediately step that left foot forward, holding the breath out as you do, or completing the exhale. Preparing for our Sun B flow. Arms circle up. Again, working those opposing actions in the right leg, pressing back through the back edge of the right foot and simultaneously sinking forward in the right hip flexors. A deep psoas stretch. And the psoas, deepest muscle in the pelvis here, connecting both to the low spine, the lumbar spine, as well as the crest of the iliacus, the rim of the inside of the pelvis. So starting to awaken, you might even become aware of the deep muscles there and contract them as you stretch. Another breath. Exhale all the way down to Chaturanga. Inhale, upward facing. And exhale, downward. 3 breaths here. 1, 2, 3. Inhale, come up high on toes, bend your knees, look forward. Exhale, feet walk or float to the head of your mat. Take your Ardha Uttanasana, extend, exhale, fold. And bend your knees, circle your arms up. Utkatasana will flow through some sun Bs. Now inhale, rise, and exhale, hands circle down. Inhale, bend your knees, fingers drop and then lift. Utkatasana. Exhale, arms wide as you take your fold. Half lift, inhale. Chaturanga, exhale. Upward facing, inhale. Big breath here, downward facing, step the right foot forward, holding your breath out. Inhale, rise, drinking in that air. Exhale, one long exhale all the way to Chaturanga Dandasana. Facing it out. Full breath here. Exhale, down dog. Hold breath out, left foot steps forward, rise. Exhale, Chaturanga. Inhale, upward. Exhale, downward, 3 breaths. For 3, 2, 1. 1, inhale, come up high on toes, look forward, exhale, feet travel forward, inhale, Ardha Uttanasana, exhale, fold. Bend your knees, circle arms up, inhale, Utkatasana, and then exhale, Samastitihi. Inhale, bend the knees, circle arms up, Utkatasana, exhale, fold. Half lift, inhale, Chaturanga, exhale, upward inhale, and exhale, downward, immediately stepping right foot forward. Inhale to rise, warrior 1. Exhale, Chaturanga Dandasana. You could float the foot or you could take it traditionally. Inhale, upward. Exhale, downward. Left foot steps forward, holding breath out. Rise. Exhale, Chaturanga. Or the Trianga variation would be to keep the foot lifted. Exhale, downward, 3 of your breaths. For 3. 2. 1, inhale. Look forward, exhale, feet float. Inhale, half flip. Exhale, deep fold. Find the Uddiyana Bandha at the bottom of the breath. Inhale, bend knees, circle arms up. And exhale, Samastitihi. Let's head back into our Utkatasana, inhaling to dip low, reach high. And then here, we're gonna bring the hands to the heart, sitting quite low once more. Toes are together, knees are together in this variation. You're gonna draw your shoulders back now, still dropping the tail, lifting the sternum toward the thumbs. Here for a couple of strong breaths. All right, we'll take a few Kapalabhati breaths as we twist, pulsing for 8 on each side. So taking a breath in, we'll go left first. Inhale, exhales. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, last round. And right. Inhale, and fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, sit on down, and take boat, feet float up. So to begin here in boat, you could keep your shins parallel to the earth, sitting nice and tall, bring the belly towards the quads, and knees come towards the chest. Or you could start to extend, work in those hip flexors still. Here for 5 more breaths. Let's breathe together. Inhale, exhale. For 2, 3, 4. Last one, 5. Exhale, tuck your knees, roll back towards plow pose. Inhale, roll forward, cross your ankles, plant your hands, and step back to plank pose. Inhale, shift forward. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, upward, and exhale, downward. This time we'll take the right leg high, breathing in. For some core in downward dog, exhale, roll forward, tuck your nose to your knee. Inhale, extend. Exhale, tap right elbow. Inhale, release the leg. And exhale, twisting across, working those side obliques. Inhale. And then this time, bring knee to nose, flex your foot, and hover the foot. See how far forward you can get it before you touch down. And then we'll rise up in crescent, all 10 toes facing the front of your mat. Root through the feet. See if you can stay low in the hips, building this strength in the right leg, and extension in the left as you rise up into your crescent. Moon Ashta Chandrasana. Headed into Utkatasana, Reach forward, long back body from heel all the way up the back of the spine through the top of the head. Step forward, gaze is still down. Settle those big toes and knees together. Inhale. And exhale. Another one. And exhale. Inhale again. As you exhale, draw your hands to your heart. This time we're just going to take 2 of those pulses on each side. So inhaling in center, we'll start left. Last round. And fold. Inhale, half lift. Exhale, arms come forward, sit on down, lifting the feet once more into boat pose. This time we will keep the shins parallel. Extend your left leg. Hands come to heart. Inhale. Exhale, twist to the right. Inhale, come through center, rebending the knee. Exhale, right leg straightens, keeping the left knee bent. Inhale, center. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. These are Kapalabhati breaths on the exhales. Keep lifting up through the sternum. Last round. Hug your knees to your chest. Inhale, exhale, roll back to plow. Inhale, come forward, cross your ankles, plant your hands. Maybe this time you propel your legs directly into chaturanga. Inhale for your upward. Exhale, downward. Right leg goes high. Inhale. Exhale, knee taps nose to pulse. Inhale, extend. Exhale, knee to nose to pulse. Inhale, extend. Exhale, pulse. Inhale, extend, and exhale, pulse. Extend, and pulse. 3 more rounds. Breathing in. Exhale, exhale. Last round. Exhale, exhale, extend. And then this time, exhale, hover that foot, and land the foot. Preparing a lunge to rise with a stable, strong foundation. Taking this as a counter pose in the left inner thigh. Left inner hip crease. Dropping the tail to extend even more across, especially opening up into the iliopsoas. You can feel that if you awaken your awareness deep into the pelvic bowl on the left side. Reaching forward now, take the gaze long back of the neck and step forward, landing the foot with control. Inhale here. And exhale, fold. Rebending the knee, circle the arms up. Inhale. Exhale, hands come to heart. Inhale. This time we'll pulse 1 on each side. Inhale and release, half lift. Inhale, sit on down. Exhale, feet rise. Inhale. Exhale, hands to the heart. We'll take our bicycles, this time taking a little more quickly. Exhale, exhale, exhale. Inhale, taking the thighs close to the chest. Exhale, tuck your chin, roll back. Inhale, roll forward. Plant the hands, chaturanga, Upward dog. Exhale, downward, left leg goes high. Exhale, crunch it forward. Inhale, extend. We'll take those pulses. Exhale, exhale to crunch in. Using your exhales to access the power deep in the core of your body. Three more sets. For 2. Last set. Inhale, extend. Exhale, hover the foot, then step on down, setting yourself up to rising crescent. Really work the foundation before you rise. When you're ready, push down through the feet. Building that deep psoas opening on the right. You can assist your own hips into square position towards the front of the mat, drawing the left hip back and the right hip forward with your own hands. You can even lower the tail this way, tucking the pelvis as much as you are able. Reach forward on an exhale. Inhale, step the right foot forward with control, Utkatasana. Breathe in here, exhale, fold. Rebending the knees, inhale, Utkatasana, exhale, hands to the chest. We'll take one last final variation here, this time sitting all the way low. Something like noose pose. We'll take a couple of twists. Right hand comes across, hooking that elbow over left thigh. Left hand comes to the sacrum. And then the right hand might be able to come down onto the floor. If you can settle your heels down as much as possible here, it's a great Achilles stretch. Mine are feeling a little tight today. Tuck your chin close to your left deltoid, trying to get as posterior as you can there. Long across the right sternocleidomastoid muscle, that muscle that runs from your jaw to your collarbone. Maybe you take it into some kind of a bind, perhaps a full bind, hugging the legs. And then release, come back through center. Still sitting on the toes. I know this is a strong one. You could roll your mat. Facing heels, I think I'll try that myself. Then when you're ready, exhale, left elbow hooks across right thigh, assisting yourself to pull the belly up and over those legs. Right hand assists you on the floor behind you. Eventually dropping the left hand down to the ground. And starting to build a twist here as well, as the right arm comes into a half bind, or you could even attempt the full bind. Working the chin towards the posterior right deltoid, long along the left side of your neck. Using the exhales to find the work. Inhales to expand into the twist. And then unwinding, release. We'll go ahead and sit on down. Final boat pose here. A couple of twists this time. So we'll take yogi toes and extend. If toes are not available, you can take the backs of the thighs. Building a twist, you're going to keep hold of the legs with the left hand, right arm extends, building a twist balance. Take your gaze behind you. Inhale, arm circles forward. This is a strong stretch across the pecs and a deep rotator cuff strengthener, drawing that scapula toward the spine. Strong trapezius pose as well. Take one more on each side. Inhale, maybe this time you cross the ankles, taking hold of the bottom foot. Doing a little IT work there, opening up the side of the thighs, area where the pant seam is. Recross ankles, taking hold of bottom toe. Exhale, left arm expands and twists.
Really drawing the arms back, bringing the chest square with the side of your mat. Gaze goes back if you can. Negotiating the balance. And release. Tuck knees into chest, or you could hold on to toes to roll back. Tucking the chin, come back on the tailbone, curving the spine, roll back. Releasing the toes, roll forward. Cross your ankles, plant your hands, exhale to chaturanga. Take a long, full breath, a couple of full breaths to open the front body here in your upward facing dog. Rolling the shoulders back, bring the chest through. Pulling up out of the waist, using the strength of your arms and shoulders. And then exhale, lift up through plank. And sit back into your downward facing dog. Right leg goes high, inhale. Exhale, knee taps nose, and we'll stay here. Staying forward in plank, take three-legged plank, extend the right leg back. Exhale, knee taps nose. Inhale, extend, look forward, exhale. Look at your own belly button. One more inhale. And exhale, this time step it through, rising and crescent. And then exhale. Come forward, Utkatasana. Take a nice inhale here. Exhale. Coming really deeply down. Toes stand. Hands come to the heart. Balancing on the toes. Nice arch stretch. Pull the core in. Shoulders come back. Trying to bring the thighs level, if you can, to your mat. And then from here, start to push into the feet to lift your seat up off the heels. Engaging. And release, set the heels down, take a forward fold, dropping your head. Inhale, come back to Utkatasana, and exhale, we'll sit all the way down into boat pose. Inhale, float the feet. Exhale, we'll just roll back this time into plow. Inhale, roll forward, plant the hands, exhale, chaturanga. Upward, inhale. Down dog, exhale, left leg goes high, breathing in. Exhale, take knee to nose. Inhale, extend. Exhale, take knee to nose and stay in your plank pose. Shoulders just above or in front of wrists. Inhale, extend your left leg behind you, three-legged plank. Exhale, tuck. Inhale, extend, working strength in the hamstrings and glutes. Another three, inhale, and exhale. Inhale for two. Last one, hover and step. Rising crescent. Exhale, step forward, Utkatasana. Last Utkatasana, I promise we'll take a vinyasa. Exhale, fold. Half lift, inhale. Exhale, bend your knees, plant your hands. Chaturanga Dandasana. Upward facing. And downward. 5 breaths here. Perhaps finding stillness. And this time, we'll take this downward dog as a counter pose by lifting the sit bones, tipping the pelvis forward this time. Point the sit bones high, drop your heels, and roll the inner thighs back. Taking a bit of a back bend, maybe you even bring the forehead all the way down to the mat. Deep shoulder stretch. Lengthening the abdominals, drop your chest towards your thighs. Really strong, static stretch. Active, static stretch. A few more breaths. Excuse me. And then come back up into your regular downward facing dog. Let's take the right leg high. Inhale. Exhale, step it forward, rising in crescent. Inhale here, and exhale to lunge. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, step to lunge. Inhale, rise, crescent. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, lunge. We'll continue in this way for 4 more rounds. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, three-legged plank. Exhale, lunge. For 4. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, rise for 3. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, plank.
exhale, lunge. Inhale for 2. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, plank. Exhale, lunge. Inhale for last one. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, three-legged plank. We get a couple of pulses here, really feeling those hamstrings and glutes turn on. Exhale, step it forward to lunge. And rise. High crescent. Here for just a moment. Inhale. Look up. Exhale, following your right thumb with your eyes. Take a twist, open twist to the right. Inner thighs start to engage toward the midline. Scissoring effect. Dropping that right hip and extending through back heel. You feel this probably in the right obliques. Probably a lot of other places too. Circle the right arm back up, still following that thumb with the drishti. And then exhale, drop the hands to lunge. We'll take revolved open lunge. Right arm circles up for a twist. Really flare the fingers open here. Draw that right shoulder blade down, engaging and rooting there. Coming now to side plank, standing on your left hand. Roll onto the side of the left foot and step back to stack the feet. Take some leg lifts here, strengthening the outer tensor fasciae lata. If I'm saying it right, IT band area. Take your 10 or so of these. Take 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Bend the knee. Just step that foot forward and step the left knee down. Take a nice left inner hip stretch in Anjaneyasana. So this could be a back bend here, deep stretch. Other options, if this is too strong, would be to tuck the toes and come into a much less deep lunge. So if you have very tight hip flexors, and this is a strong practice for you, you could come to stack hip over knee in this way. And start to send your hips forward and down any amount until you feel this opening happen. Once you do, breathe some space there, relaxing a bit. Deeper variations. I often say it's the only pose where the knee can come in front of the ankle. If you're very deeply into your low lunge, do the weight is supported in the body. Not a lot of strain on the knee hinge here, unlike in standing poses. Arms might circle up and take a full front body yawn. Circling some space across the chest as you rotate the upper arms externally. Finding some lightness. And releasing your arms. If you have blocks, books, or a couple stacks of soup cans, you can stack those up by your right hip, slide your right heel forward just a bit. Half Hanumanasana, Ardha Hanu. Engage to sit tall, feeling of mountain pose in the torso. Breathe space into the spine. Exhale, come forward as you draw the right hip back. I'm going to take my hands to my hips today, finding a balance variation. Start to come on out. The exit is just as juicy as the entry in terms of balance. Pour weight into the right foot, coming back down into Anjaneyasana. Hands frame the foot. This is a good place for 2 blocks. We're headed into standing split. Tuck your back toes, lift your back knee, and then shift weight forward into your right foot. Drawing the belly deeply into the right thigh. So you could bend your knee to keep that contact between the right side of the belly and the right thigh. Dropping your head, might even touch your nose to your chin here. And only then start to extend into the pose, keeping that contact between the body and the right leg. Couple more breaths here. Headed to stand. Soften the bend in the right knee. Push through that foot. Hands come to prayer as you rise all the way up. Taking that left knee. Extending the left leg forward. flex the foot. We'll start to bend the standing knee any amount. Coming forward with the hands onto 2 tall blocks, headed into pistol squat. Use the strength of right quads to soften the descent. Floating here in pistol squat. Sit on down. We'll roll back in the plow. Roll forward, stamp your right foot down and lift. Exhale, roll back. Lift. Take a few more of these. It can be helpful to exhale on the lift. Inhale, roll back. Reversing the breath pattern, if that helps you, on the exertion of this deep hip flexor work in both sides, really. Last one. Exhale, roll back. Inhale, roll forward. This time cross the ankles, plant the hands. Chaturanga or plank. If you take plank, take another breath. Lower down with knees on the ground or a regular chaturanga. Then find a back bend. Maybe child's pose. You can always pause the video if you need to. Left leg rises, inhale. Exhale, step that foot forward and rise, high crescent. Inhale here, exhale, lunge. Inhale, extend in a 3-legged plank, staying forward in the shoulders. Exhale, lunge. Exhale, lunge. Inhale, 3-legged plank. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, rise for 8. Inhale, extend. Exhale, forward. Expand for 7. Inhale, extend. Exhale, lunge. 6. Exhale. Inhale, extend. Exhale, step forward. Inhale, crescent 5. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 4. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. 3. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. 2. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Last set. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale and pulse this last time. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Exhale, step it forward. Inhale, rise, high crescent, stabilizing. Headed into our twist now. Gaze rises, taking the left thumb as your drishti with your eyes. Start to bring that left hand all the way back, taking arms to a T and opening wide. Shoulder blades draw together behind you. Inner thighs scissor together. Few breaths. Twisting from the belly. Gaze is still back. Circle that left arm forward, inhale. Exhale, back to lunge. Right hand drops, left arm rises up. Revolve open lunge for a twist. Gaze comes down. Side plank standing on the right hand. With control, stepping on back to stack. Take our leg lifts. Exhale for 10, 9, 8. Exhale to lift. 7, 6, 5, 4. You can lift your gaze for more balance challenge. 3, 2, and 1. Sending this foot forward with control and set the right knee on down. Circle your arms up for your Anjaneyasana. Hip flexor release. Finding your shape and start to massage the breath. Still breathing in and out through the nose. Slowing it down. Perhaps ironing out the breath a bit more. Creating more of an even quality in and out. Feeling the circulatory system pumping away. Perhaps you're feeling energized in your nervous system from all the rolling, all the strong work in the core. Finding that powerhouse of energy within you as our society is a bit in dormancy. And release, headed into Ardha Hanumanasana. Shift your hips back, draw your left toes in. Sitting nice and tall, bring your hands to your hips. Find a feeling of lightness through a steady torso. Breathe in to fill the breath container bottom to top. Breathe out. Engage that left hip back. Rolling the left inner thigh down. Strong, engaged quadricep muscles. There we go. Turning those on. Take your gaze to a fixed point just ahead of you on your mat. Keep that heart shining forward. Starting to rise, take it slow. Smoothing transitions, finding a little ease maybe. Shift weight back and allow left foot, tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Releasing the hands now to the ground. We'll step forward into standing split. Keeping a bent knee, wrap the left forearm around the left calf. And draw your nose in toward your knee, something like a Janu Shirshasana, translating head to knee. So you can bring your head to your knee here. And then we start to apply effort and action in the right hamstrings, keeping those toes rotated down to the mat. Feel the glutes engage and resist the temptation of the glutes to pull the leg open to lift the right hip. Rather, roll the right hip down and use those hamstrings to lift. Still sealing off space between the belly and the left thigh. And we're going to rise all the way up to stand. Taking that right knee with you. Hands come to the heart. Establish balance. Using the core to stabilize the pose. Strong standing leg. Extending that leg now, heel points forward, a couple breaths here. And then using your two tall blocks or other props, we're going to start to sit back. Something like a Utkatasana with the right leg extended, hopefully landing softly in your pistol squat. Try to lift the chest toward the thumbs. A couple more breaths here, it's strong, I know. And then release, roll back, cloud pose. Inhale, exhale, stamp the left foot and lift. Inhale, exhale, lift. Inhale, exhale, lift. 4 more. 4. Or 3. Or 2. Last one. And release both legs back. Exhale, your vinyasa. Rolling forward to take chaturanga, a long opening in your back bend. Shifting side to side. And taking a body scan, especially in the front of the pelvis. Checking out how you're doing. You can pause the video if you need a little longer in hip flexor therapy here. And to feel that connection between opposing muscle groups, you can take a hanging cobra. So bringing the body down to the mat, heel of the hand comes into the ribs, fingers pointing forward. Start to draw your shoulder blades together, lengthening your legs. And then inhale, root through the heel of the hand to come up. Elbows are slightly bent here in this high Bhujangasana. And to feel the connection between the hip flexor opening and the hamstrings, start to bend your knees. Big toes coming together for hanging cobra. And as you contract, you can stay in your hanging cobra. As you contract the hamstrings in this pose, the brain receives a signal to release the front hip flexors, called reciprocal inhibition. And it's a wonderful way to find a deeper release, to engage the opposing muscle group. Coming on out. Chin taps, bring the toes together, tucking them. Press up to plank, take a breath in. And exhale, downward dog. Stretching those hip flexors here. Drop your heels, lift your sit bones. If you need 3 open mouth ha's, you could take those here. Or just stay in stillness, finding a bit of peace start to infiltrate the system. You can close your eyes. We'll be here for 3 more breaths. Inhale, come up high on toes, bend your knees. Exhale, push through your hands to bring your feet forward. Ardha Uttanasana, inhale, exhale, fold, wrapping your head. Soften your knees and rise all the way to stand, circling the arms up. Nice and tall, straight spine. And exhale, Samastitihi, hands circle around, palms facing forward. And roll the shoulders up towards the ears and release them down your back. Equal standing. Take a couple of standing back bends. Inhale, reach high. Exhale, take hold of the left wrist with the right hand. Rooting through your left heel, draw length. Look up, pull the belly back. Shift the right shoulder forward as you take your side bend. Strong legs, hips bow out to the left. Come on back up. Inhale, look up, exhale, start the hands to the heart. Feel that length here as you rest here, noticing any sensation in the side of the body that you just stretched. Maybe feeling a little taller on that side. See what you can find. And then releasing the eyes open, circle the arms back up. We'll take the other side, right wrist. Inhale to expand, not side bending yet. Simply lengthening, exhale, strong legs. Engage the legs, send your hips to the right. Guide that left shoulder forward, gaze lifts, belly back. Staying completely present in the actions of the pose. Every exhale, you can take it a little deeper. Keeping it safe and reasonable for your body, always. And last exhale, inhale, release. Exhale, hands to heart. Lifting the chest bone up. Belly comes back, drop the shoulders, nice broad expanse across the pectorals, tucking your chin towards your pinkies. Feeling equilibrium start to flood the system. Heartbeat, perhaps speaking to you. Observe its drumbeat. Final standing stretch. Really rooting the feet here. We'll take a standing crescent. Standing back bend with palms together. Inhale, circle the arms up. Again, just starting with a vertical straight spine, rooting through the feet, strengthening the legs. Here we'll send the hip flexors forward. Peel those ribs in toward one another, threading them, knitting them together, using all that shadow of that core work you did so strongly in the practice to protect over-compression in the low back. Starting to come into the back bend now, lift the rim of the rib cage up away from the pelvic bowl. Palms together, gaze up. Keep the breath coming, don't hold your breath. Rising up, using that contraction of the front body. And then exhale, a gentle, slow forward fold, separating your feet all the way into Malasana, sit on down, taking meditation. Flooding down and out of anything you don't need in your life right now. Depending on whether you are alone at home or surrounded by family, it can be difficult either way. So using your practice as a counterpose to the way life is showing up for you right now. You can find that in this pose, either this sense of freedom and lifting out, connecting others, or a sense of dropping into the self, sitting low across the hips. Beautiful. An optional crow pose. And then from here, we'll take a vinyasa. So go ahead and take your knees to the upper triceps, starting to shift weight forward. I have another video in which I give a lot of options for crow, including you could take a plank, you could rock forward and back. Keep the gaze coming forward, a sense of lifting and spreading across the chest. And when you're ready, we'll exhale to straighten the legs, lifting the gaze forward for chaturanga. Drop the pelvis, high cobra. If you want that hanging cobra, you can take that here. And then exhale, downward facing dog. Right away, take your right leg high. And exhale, send that foot forward, landing the left knee for Anjaneyasana. Take a shoulder opener here in Anjaneyasana. Right arm comes on up. Bring the arm really behind the ear, so if it was on the other side, arm really comes behind the ear. Right arm is lifted. Left hand to the left hip, root down through the left hip. As you draw the right arm back. Left hand's going to come around behind you, back of the hand to back of the heart, or back of the hand to back of the sacrum. Bending at the elbow, bring your right hand to the back of your neck, maybe finding your own fingers for Gomukhasana arms, cow-faced arms. You can start to walk that right tricep behind the head, leaning back into the support of this bind if you have it. This is a great place to find a cloth belt, strip of fabric even if you sew. You can go down and cut yourself a yoga strap, your sewing supplies. Lots of time on our hands. Can do these little projects now, right? Breathing into this opening. Boy, that's a strong one. Let's unwind the arms now. Chance for a full split. Straightening the right leg. Start to shift the right foot forward any amount. This is another place to prop up onto two supports on either side of you. Sitting nice and tall. We're really looking today for the hip flexor component. So oftentimes we kind of come forward, taking a big hamstring opener. Today we're working to sit nice and tall as a counterpost to all that hip flexor work. So since this is a video and you could potentially use it for a long time to come, I will offer kind of an advanced variation that you could work towards, or even if you're not working towards it, it just might one day become available to you. I've had that happen, and it takes no thought, no planning, no intention even. The body just sort of adapts to yoga as time goes on if you just show up to your practice. So if you want more hip flexor opening and the time comes when you need it, you can start to bend the back foot, drawing the heel of the hand to the top of the foot, trying to square the left shoulder forward. Very deep Hanumanasana stretch. You can take a mermaid grasp here, bring the foot to the crook of the left elbow, perhaps taking a balance pose as we did before by lifting the right arm and taking that hand behind the head, leaning back into the support of this Gomukhasana-like mermaid grasp. Try to keep shifting the left body forward, keeping the hips as closed as you're able. I think we've all been in Hanumanasana long enough. Start to climb on up, draw the right heel back. We'll come forward into a lizard, walking the right foot over to the right side of your mat. Stay nice and upright in lizard today, rocking right and left. If you have that strap handy, you can take the left knee into a bend, coming onto the flesh above the knee. You can put a blanket underneath the knee. Right arm circles back, perhaps finding the knee, and taking a twisting lunge. If the bind is not available, take a mudra in the right hand, maybe even a bend in the elbow, flexing the foot. Find something to delight in here as you take this nice hip opening. Releasing. Hands prop up. You're going to start to crawl under the right leg, taking the arms into flying lizard. The left hip roots down, gaze comes forward. You could take a full bind here, or you could just try to draw your body up, resisting with the right thigh, drawing up into the resistance of the right thigh. A couple more breaths. Strong Ujjayi breaths. And then releasing the hand, right hand comes outside the foot, so you're underneath your right thigh. We're gonna push into the mat to tuck the left knee through and forward into a seat. And forward and sit on down. Hooking the right leg over the arm. 2 blocks here if you have them, or even single books can be good if they're nice, sturdy, hardcover books. And then start to rock forward, rounding the spine as we've been doing the whole practice. Engage the core and lift your seat. We'll take several of these. It's a great place to pause, play around, or skip ahead if you don't want to take this, or balance play. Eventually coming into elephant trunk, peak pose for our hip flexors. You could cross that ankle over the right foot, straighten the left leg, and start to rotate your legs out to the side. Chaturanga, tap the chin. For Ashtavakrasana, 8-angle pose. Come out as you came in, tucking that left leg back and through. Maybe a Kundalini, and then release the foot back, taking a high cobra, or even a seal pose, bring the heels of the hands, and then for this one we allow the chest to sink and shoulders to retract, but different. See what you think. This is a nice way to find a sense of rooting across the pelvic triangle, pubic bone, and hip points. And then we'll sit back in child's pose. Knees are really wide if you took that seal variation. Make a diamond of thumbs and first finger, and settle the third eye into your mat. Observe the breath, expanding across the back body. Feel the chest start to melt down. Hips begin to soften. A real sense of devotion, self-care, nurturing the mind, body, and spirit as you recover here in Balasana. You can stay a bit longer. I'm going to climb up into downward dog. You could be staying in your child's pose. We'll take another crow vinyasa. Perhaps you can hop forward, landing on the arms in crow. I can't, but if you can, go ahead and do that now. At least maybe landing into your crow prep stance. That's what I'm going to do. Kneeling on the upper triceps, starting to straighten the arms as much as you're able. Playing with the balance point. Take a few more breaths, and when you're ready, exhale, chaturanga. Again, a long breath in your upward facing dog. And we'll all climb up now from child's, or send hips back into downward dog to take the other side. Left leg rises, take a full breath. Exhale, use your core to send that foot forward, dropping your right knee, sitting back in your fullest expression now of Anjaneyasana. Right hand comes to the hip, left arm rising up, first working from below. Find your foundation for this beautiful shoulder opener we're about to enter. Right hand comes around for that half bind. Bring the back of the hand either to the base of the sacrum or creeping all the way up to the back of your heart, maybe even finding the top of your collar. Left thumb draws back towards the wall behind you, bending at the elbow, back of the fingers to back of the neck. Gomukhasana arms. Shift and shimmy, getting the head onto its pillow of tricep flesh and muscle. Leaning back. Deep opening. Again, a strap or other fabric implement, or even a towel can be a great assist here, so that you can safely find this opening without pinching or any sort of sharp sensation at all. Just enjoying wherever you are. That's exactly where you need to be. Yoga, always a krama, always a progression, never arriving, always just on the path to freedom in the body and in the mind. In the breath, every breath of victory. Start to unwind. Put it into full Hanumanasana now. Take your time. We'll be here for 10 breaths or so to explore. tilting the right heel forward. You can use your back toes to walk your back knee back. It's a great place to sit up on a block, noticing if one side is tighter than the other. We're no longer heated in the studio here, so I do find that lacking the heat, if you're accustomed to it in a hot yoga practice, you might notice you have a little less flexibility. That's perfectly okay. You could certainly experiment with heating your space, the space heater. But just enjoy the process using the body's natural, vigorous vinyasa as your heater. And work with where you are. It's not important to be where you were in the heated studio in these deep expressions. Any adding on, hip flexor opening in the back leg, you can take that now. Still breathing slowly, peacefully. Start to make your way out of the shape, really taking care. Drawing the left heel back. Coming back into your Hanumanasana. And walking that foot over to lizard. Still in the hip flexors, I know. Come on down in your lizard pose. Rocking right and left. And drop the head. Pull the belly up and in. Stay here or climb on up for that open twist. Coming forward on the flesh above the right knee, bending that knee, left hand comes on around to take an expression. Perhaps finding the bind. Lift your back elbow for even more opening on the ribs. You can play with these poses. Just see how it feels if you shift and shimmy within them. Finding a satisfying release and starting to acquaint yourself with muscles you may not normally think about. Developing an inner vocabulary. And if you do that, you'll start to find some ease, just some intuitive knowledge, starting to create new patterns in movement that start to, if you do them enough, they start to find that natural, I don't have to think about it, pattern traced upon the brain through repetition. Of course, practice never makes perfect. I found that out as a musician. They always said it did, but it wasn't true. Coming on up out of your shape, we're still in lizard. Start to tuck your back toes, lift your back knee. Headed into a strengthening version now. Dip the heart low. Lift your left hand up and under that thigh. Strong quadricep work here. Maybe you bind. Here for a few more breaths. Still lifting with the arms if you can. And then plant that left hand under and outside of the left heel. Start to press, engaging the ribs. Draw the right knee in and send it on through. Elephant trunk pose. Sit on down. Reset your backpacking of the left leg. Hands come onto blocks. Shift forward and back. Exhaling. This is your peak expression here, this core action. If you want to take a few skull shining breaths, you'll feel it. And then maybe we cross right ankle over left, taking a dip in Ashtavakrasana, and then exiting out, sending that right foot back. Then Chaturanga, upward facing. And that seal pose or a hanging cobra. And then exhale, come all the way down onto your belly. And take Sphinx pose. Spread the fingers, elbows come under shoulders. And from Sphinx, bend your right knee. Pour weight to the left forearm, left hand, and reach on back. Start to draw that heel to the outside of the right hip. Or you can simply kick, bowing into the hand, kicking the foot into the hand. Bekasana. Start to press into the hand lock, lifting the elbow and coming on up. Right shoulder shifts forward, left shoulder shifts back. So frog in Ashtanga variation. Slowly release, setting the elbow down. Shift your weight left as you release the right. Bind, coming back into Sphinx. And then exhale, lift your forearms, forearm plank. A few breaths here in forearm plank. And then begin to press away with your hands, walking your feet in. Dolphin pose. Opportunity here for a couple of ekapadas. Lift your right leg high. Still working in hamstring strengthening. Pulse and kick that right heel. Exhaling to pulse up. You can stay with this motion or start to take some pincha hops. And then when you're ready, walk it back down, forearm plank. Lower the pelvis, Sphinx pose. Exhaling here. Left knee bends. Shift weight to the right, reach on around. So we take the inside of the foot, then the elbow starts to lift, pivoting the fingers to face the front of your mat. Bakhasana, root through the right hand to lift that elbow. If it's available, just play with, see what you can do here. There are different expressions of this pose, so the elbow could stay down. Maybe just the knee is bent and the left arm is reaching out to the side, or even taking the hip, lifting the elbow and the shoulder back. There's another expression, working the same muscles. Start to lower on down, releasing the right elbow, releasing the left knee. Taking Sphinx pose once more. Tuck your toes, lift on up, forearm plank pose. Here for 10. 9, pull the belly up, drop the tailbone. 7, elbows hug together. 6, 5, engaging those biceps, don't let elbows flare. 3, side waist in. 2, and 1. Press your head, your chest towards your thighs. Start to walk your thighs towards your chest. You can bend your knees a lot here. Shoulder strengthener. Still trying to keep the hands and elbows parallel with the sides of your mat, so try not to bring the hands together, elbows wide if you can. It's something to work towards. Root the right heel, left foot rises. Inhale and exhale, pulsing through heel. Flare those toes. Exhale, exhale. Don't let the hip open. We're working the hamstrings here. Exhale, continuing with that motion, or start to take some kicks, finding some Pincha Mayurasana hops, maybe a forearm stand. And then come on back down. It's time to take your knees together. Walk your hands back. We'll rest the shoulders and arms in a closed knee child's, draping your shoulders, hands by the feet, palms facing up. Take a little neck stretch as well, coming onto the right temple. Breathing in and out through your nose. And then lift the head, rotate onto the left temple, turning the head to the right. Arms come forward. Tuck your toes. Downward facing dog. The right leg rises. Exhale, step it forward. And walk that foot all the way to the left. Right knee drops down. Scoot your left knee back. So today we'll take your more parallel variation with the shin a little closer to parallel with the front of the mat. If that means you're quite lifted over here, and then bring the heel in so that you can start to drop into left hip flexors. So your variation, your angle, you can sit up high on a prop, several couch cushions, or a couch cushion on the right, under the right seat. You'll find that back bending variation here, bending the back leg. Maybe you find that foot, drawing it in close. Again, you can take Bakhasana, taking the inside of the foot, fingers rotate towards the front of the mat, and then start to orient your left shoulder forward. And then come on back down. Step it forward. Tuck your toes. Downward facing dog. The right leg rises. Exhale, step it forward. Finding the krama where you want to work. Again, we have options of mermaid, hooking foot into the crook of the elbow, right arm coming up and over for that Gomukhasana, grasp behind the head. Or you could take full Ekapada Raj Kapotasana, hooking a strap around the left foot. If you want to take it just with the hands, we reach towards the top of the foot with the palm, and then start to rotate, spinning the elbow up, overhead grabs. Right hand comes up, take your gaze to the thumb, starting to come into your full Ekapada Raj Kapotasana. Playing where you want to play. Here for a few more breaths. Deep hip flexor work. Keep engaging the core muscles you've worked so hard to ignite to protect your low back. Releasing the hip flexor variation. We'll start to come on down into sleeping pigeon. Soften the shape. Finding meditation. Stay present with your breath, observing the inhales and exhales, gently controlling them, perhaps using a slow count to even the length. You might also practice Kumbhaka holds, also counting some time to hold the breath all the way out and all the way in. Maybe a half a minute or so to enjoy it. Begin to make your way out of sleeping pigeon. Let your head be so heavy as you walk your hands back. Shift weight over onto your left hip, rolling there. Release your left leg forward. You're going to come into full Gomukhasana, swinging that left leg all the way around, stacking left knee over right. Send some equal weight into both hip bones. And if this is a strong pose, you can certainly allow the knee to lift. You want to be very careful with the hinge joint of the knee, not to force the knees to stack. You can also come into something like a half Lord of the Fishes and just sit nice and tall here. This can be your shape. And you can still take the right fingers to the back of the heart and the left hand to the sacrum. So this is your modification. For full Gomukhasana, the knees stack, coming onto the tops of the feet. Sit nice and close, bringing the heels in. Establish Mula Bandha, pulling the pelvic floor muscles up, flying the block in the belly, chin draws back, sounding breath through Ujjayi, through the chin lock. Right arm rises up, bringing that arm past the ear line, half bind in the left arm, hooking shirt, strap, or fingers. Inhale to lean back, opening. Exhale, fold forward any amount, and take care, especially with the top of the right shoulder. If you feel any pinching there, release the bind and you can fold without it. Take a few breaths with the bind and then I begin to release. Melt in. Perhaps releasing arms now. Soften the shoulders. Relaxing, especially into the left side of the hips. Take comfort here in this sheltered pose, turning inside. And don't feel fear about being with yourself, just allowing anything to come up. Any fears, any worries, any anxieties that are there. Just practicing presence with what is. A wonderful coping skill as things begin to wear off the novelty of not having to show up at work or school or wherever else you must go. things you must do in society that maybe you're glad you don't have to do right now. It feels like a vacation. As that begins to fade and you begin to miss those routines, turning inside to a sense of completeness in alone oneness can be quite a comfort. So find that here. A few more breaths. So we're going to press up. Couple of options. We'll take a headstand, so you could unravel and set yourself up against a wall. Take Shirshasana A. This is our elbows apart, a cupped fist in a cupped palm, and your head would go right in the center of that triangle. I'm going to take a Shirshasana A from Gomukhasana, coming up maybe with eagle legs. We'll see how it goes. So to do this, you're going to lean forward. Root the forearms, tuck your toes, and start to lift your hips, keeping the legs crossed. You can settle your head down, that's step one. Playing here. Maybe you start to cannonball the hips. And perhaps coming up into eagle headstand. Unwind, cannonball tuck, perhaps a pike. A little more deep core work, working the low abdominals now. You can take a couple of taps. And then with care, set it on down, meeting back in child's pose. Release your hands by your sides. Arms reach forward, tuck your toes, lift your hips, downward facing dog. Left leg breathes high. Exhale, knee to nose, step it forward, lunge. And then start to heel toe the foot behind the right hand, lowering that knee, coming down from above, sitting nice and tall. This could be the work, propping up on the blocks. Take our back bending segment, bending the right knee. Again, this could be where you stay, working here. Right hand might come around to take the inside of the foot, pivoting and lifting the elbow, fingers come forward. Bakasana leg in this Kapotasana variation pigeon. Perhaps extending into mermaid or full king pigeon. Some time to play. Exploring the variation that makes the most sense for you and for this moment. The breath's full, especially in a deep back bend. On the exhales, protect yourself in this back bend by firming the floating ribs toward one another. Inhale, lift that firm abdominal container up away from the pelvis. A couple more breaths in your back bend. Slowly with care, release, and then start to set it on down. Walk the heart up and over. Remembering that you can always bring the heel in more to make the pose more comfortable so that you can better relax into the shape rather than feeling that you just can't wait to get out of it. That's usually a signal that you need to soften a little bit more and allow your body to relax in its own time. Here for a bit, coming into your meditation technique, either counting breaths, counting moments within the breath, or practicing Kumbhaka Pranayama, holding the air at full and empty. Start to press on up. Shift weight into the left hip, releasing the right leg all the way around, second knee over knee for Gomukhasana, or sitting tall in your half Lord of the Fishes base. Press the tops of the feet into your mat or carpet. Firm the right hip bone down into the mat. Sitting tall. Left arm rises. Right arm exhales around. Inhale, reach back with the thumb, and exhale to bind. Inhale, expand. Exhale, soft fold. Taking great care with the shoulders. Softening and unwinding whenever you're ready. Here for a bit more time, taking meditation. Continue to scan your body, melting into this shape, relaxing. Use your breaths out to release some tension in your body. Either staying here in your shape or start to climb on up. Coming back to the wall now for some headstand play, Shirshasana A. Or you can enter it, and if you're very experienced and you've been taking headstand for a long time, you feel very stable there, you can try this eagle entry, or an alternative would be to come into headstand and then take eagle legs. Right leg is over left in this variation if you're going to take that once you arrive in your headstand. Taking the opposite fist inside of the palm. Coming forward now. Settle the head onto the hairline, starting to tuck toes, lift the knees. Coming into your cannonball. Shift weight forward, bringing the hips over the shoulders. Use those core muscles to draw the knees up. Finding Garuda legs at the top. Coil those inner thighs together, experiencing more core engagement in headstand than you might normally. And if you're someone who tends to be back bendy in your headstands, I know I am, I've seen it happen before. And this might be a way to really refine your expression of headstand, continuing to root down through the forearms as if you were to lift your head off the mat. And just be careful that you can take a quick unwind so you can land in kind of a squat if you have to. Starting to unravel. We'll take it into a pike. Maybe some pike taps. Maybe not. Just wearing out the low abdominals at the end of the practice. Set it on down, child's pose. Start to roll on up. Lotulasana, plant the hands. Maybe you can lift your toes up off the mat. And then cross ankles, sit on back, extend your legs. We'll come on down into the back. A few back bends. Bridge pose with ekapatas. So if you have any low back sensitivity, taking bridge pose only on one leg could be a difficult pose for you, could cause injury. So if you're dealing with back recovery, this might be a better time just to take both feet, take a regular bridge. Working strength in the lats, mid-lats here. Right leg will go high, pointing the toes. Take care that you've really firmed the quadriceps. Bring that left heel in as close as you can to your bum. palms face up. Breathe out, root the lumbar down. Inhale, lift straight up. Exhale, set it down. Inhale and exhale. Continuing at your own pace. And eventually we'll stay lifted here. Here for 3, 2, and 1. You might lower the leg for 3, 2, hamstring burner 1, and set it on down, bridge pose, coming up on the toes, roll the spine down. Rocking knees side to side with wide feet, arms out to a T. Other side now. Walking the feet back together, setting up for second side. Tuck the shoulder flesh under to create a good base here. You're going to be pushing from the rotator cuff muscles. This time plant the right foot very close to the buttock. Left leg extends. Awaken the muscles on the top of that left leg, pointing the toe, engaging the quads. Feel the connection between the back of the sacrum all the way up through the big toe, middle toe. Exhale, plant the lumbar down, find the core muscles, and then lift up into that space. Exhale, engage navel to spine. Inhale, expand. Exhale. 4 more. Let's take 1 more here and then we'll stay. For 3, 2, 1. Stay up with the hips, pointing the toes straight forward. 3, 2, 1. Bending at the knee. Inhale. Final hip flexor opening and bridge. And exhale, come up on the toes and send your arms overhead. Inhale, circle the arms forward. And lift, this time rolling those thumbs back. Plant them right under your shoulder blades. Walk your heels in any amount. The closer you walk them in, the deeper your back bend will be. Setting up for upward facing bow. Urdhva Dhanurasana. When you're ready, exhale, push into your hands and feet. Inhale, push even more and lift. 5 breaths. Coming on down onto the head, pause here, and then come on back up. Left leg rises, inhale, 3, 2, 1, set it on down. Coming back down onto the head, inhale, lift, walk the feet in, firm the left foot, right leg rises for 3, 2, 1. Set it on down, come up high on the toes, tuck your chin, and slowly roll it on down. Supta Baddha Konasana. Meditation time. Be prepared for this moment. Feeling expansive, receptive, and open across the pelvic bowl. Feeling that open space in the body. One of the benefits of actively contracting muscles, as we have been doing with the hip flexors, is the release when you intentionally relax them following deep contraction. So observe that effect in your body now. See where you can feel perhaps a sense of cooling, maybe tingling, more of a sense of glow. Feeling the effects of the practice. Give you a good half a minute to explore sensation in this shape. Surrendering. Letting the work fade and finding ease. Sukha. Sukha asana. Ease in this posture. lightness, coming into a visual gaze behind the eyelids. See if there's any light filtering in. Dance of color before the eyes. You could explore that. Maybe you start to center the eyes at a distant imaginary point behind the eyelids, trying to capture a fixed point. Take a final scan for any remaining tension. And that might show up as just a spot of darkness or just a feeling of blocking, a blockage. And maybe it's just there and there's nothing really to do other than to sit with that. So settle your mind on that blockage and just be with it. Noticing usually a fear response that comes with sitting with deep emotion or sensation or something troubling. What would happen if you just allowed it to be with you? You may find an empowering sensation. We'll close with a happy baby, closing the knees on it. Draw them into the chest, lifting ankles up over knees. Softening, you could rock right and left. Maybe keeping the eyes closed as you play around with extending one leg and then the other. Hands don't need to be on feet, they could. And then bringing the knees together, we'll take a plow. Plant your hands right by your hips, lift your heels, and then start to rock forward and back. If you don't take plow, this can be a time to just rock forward and back, or you could just take the knees into the chest. If you do want to join me in plow, send the hips up over the shoulders. In plow, let's take a wide-legged variation. Spreading some space, start to push more through your hands, or you could bring your hands to your low back. Pressing down into the upper back and the triceps. Maybe you extend hands to the side, balancing on the shoulders and the back of the head. So to find this pose, really the hips do need to be all the way up toward over the shoulders. So if you're a little too far forward to release the back, that's fine, just stay here. We'll roll on up. Upward toes, lift the gaze, draw elbows wide. And then maybe coming forward, toe bound Upavishta Konasana. And then sit on up, release. We'll close practice as we end the Ashtanga primary series. Actually all the series, the finishing posture is a lotus lift. So just a completion of this very fiery, core-centric practice. You could take Shavasana now and just shut off the video. Take a good 3 to 5 minute Shavasana if you can. You want to end with me? So if lotus is not available, you can certainly take this in Sukhasana. It's actually a little harder, I find, to not have the assistance of the bind. You can also do a half bind and take a few breaths with each side of the half bind, the half lotus. Whatever you've chosen for legs, start to roll into that sacrum balance, lifting the knees, hugging them in nice and close. Hands come to 2 blocks or your mat. And the same action we've practiced the whole time, we're gonna roll forward and push. Lift the gaze. Here for 8 breaths. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Set it on down, Shavasana. Coming into it Slowly, really unravel the body, taking any final movements to release. And take your time here, the video will end. Just enjoy this Shavasana. Namaste, yogis. See you next time.